Welcome to What They Won't Tell You with Sherry Anshara, the quantum truth. Now, I have Sherry here today, and she's a very special guest. Before we begin anything, why are we doing this show, Sherry? What are we doing this? What is this podcast about? What is this vlog about?
This podcast is about telling the truth, not what's true. Because you know what? True can change, but the truth is the truth.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. So, as far as listen, why should we listen to you opposed to anybody else? What background, where you come from, all that type of stuff? Can you kind of explain what your knowledge is in the quantum field?
Well, I can. So when I was born many moons ago, at 3 years old, I began to become this person called the observer.
Mm.
And fortunately, I had 3 older siblings, so I had an incredible vocabulary. But one thing that I noticed, that when you ask questions,
Ooh.
it freaked people out, especially my family. And so I would say unusual things. And I'm sure there's so many of you out in the audience where you would like to have shared some information with your family and they looked at you like, where the heck did you come from? Actually, that became the label in my family. That became my genre. Like, Sherry, where did you come from? Because you are not supposed to ask questions. And I'm sure that there are those in this audience that are listening that they had experienced that happen to them as children, but they couldn't share it. And maybe you had pretend people in your life that nobody could see but you.
Pretend people. What do you mean by that? Like imaginary friend? Or can you expand on pretend people?
Yes, because I had some very wonderful friends and they weren't imaginary.
Oh,
And one time you might get this. I said to my mother when I was 3, how come the people I see that you can't see make more sense to me than the people we see? And she would say, Sherry, where did you come from? And it would drive them crazy. But the fact is, we are multidimensional. We are. And children are taught to forget.
Taught to forget. What do you mean by talk to forget? Do we just get programmed a certain way in order to believe that this is the only realm of reality? Or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, and you hit the word reality. Do you know there's so many realities, but no one knows what's real. And so we get programmed. Do you know something? From the minute the sperm hits the egg, you're in. The minute.
The minute? What do you mean by the minute?
Yeah, that sperm hits the egg and you're in and you're ready to rock and you've got your little script in your hand and you're going, this is what I'm going to do this lifetime.
Huh.
And guess what happens? Somebody screws up your script.
What do you mean screws? Oh, somebody writes it for you when you're out of there. Or so you're saying that the learning begins from when the sperm hits the egg, not even when we're conscious in the world, our 3D realm, right?
Actually, we are conscious.
Okay.
Oh, but the 3D realm gets us unconscious.
Oh, all right. I hear you.
And drives us into that thing that controls our life. It's called the left computer brain.
Huh.
Ooh, and so we're only using half a brain. And this is the joke. My friends will come to me and they'll say, or my clients, I'm half out of my mind. And I go, your head's up your patootie and your assets aren't working. Because you're half out of your mind and you're half-assed too. Got it? And so I teach them how, which I knew as this kid, but no one knew what I was talking about because at my age and stage, who would know about the quantum field? But you are quantum. And it's not just the duality realities, which we will talk about, but it's about what is real to you. What is real to you? And so talking to my not imaginary friends was so real.
By non-imaginary friends, like what are those people that you're talking about that you used to talk to and everything like that? And why could you see them and other people could not?
They couldn't see them because of the programming.
Okay.
Oh, because it would be afraid, it would be booga booga, or it would be meanies, or it would be evil, but it wasn't the truth at all. So we are multidimensional, and we live in realms of multidimensionality all the time, but we miss it. Because of that programming, Cassidy, in that left computer brain that says, oh, no, you can't do that. You
Interesting.
can't be expansive. You've got to stay in the matrix of the boxes. So you get boxed in. So you're boxed in of a realities, perhaps religion. I'm not wronging religion, or perhaps in the idea of a background where you came from.
Right.
You know, we came from this place and this is what we do. Great. Is that all you do? And I'm going to give you an example. This is hilarious. I was talking to two women who found me, and this is about ridiculous realities. And they were in South Africa. And one was black and white. Isn't that fabulous? And one was from India. And they didn't know each other, though they lived in the same city. How interesting.
Yeah.
Don't we live in same cities? And we don't communicate? And they both said, you know what? I just can't get along with my family. I go, really? And I'm having just all kinds of problems at school and this, that, or at work. And I said, really? And they said, what should I do? I said, move to America. I'll find you a place to live. And they started laughing. So you see, all around the world, all of you around the world have the most incredible knowledge. You just got confused because of this programming.
So how do we get unconfused? When what I mean that is, how do we break out of this matrix that has been designed for us? And I guess in a further question, who designed that matrix? I don't know if we want to get to that yet, but
Well, maybe not, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. But it wasn't us.
yeah.
So there's a word that I use. It's called controllers. It's the con of those trollers that are trolling through
I
your
like
left
that.
computer brain
Trolls.
and through your education. Those are the controllers. And so then we get confused. Well, maybe that's not the way it is. Well, it better be that way. I better follow the rules. So if you look through history, who made the rules?
I don't know. That's why I'm trying to seek the truth myself. Is like, you know me, I've been down that rabbit hole now. Now I just can't stop seeking more information at this point. so.
Yeah, and if you look at the word rules, it's the rules are run by a ruler.
Rule.
Ooh,
Rules.
and what is a measurement? It's a yardstick. It's a tape measure. So we've been taught from the minute that sperm hit the egg, we have to start measuring ourselves. Do we measure up? Do we measure down? Why do we have to measure? This was one of my questions. They call it adulthood. Who put the hood over them?
Oh, hood.
Oh, and then they put it on children and called the childhood. And you know-
Childhood. I didn't even realize that. Yeah. When you start breaking down the actual words.
Yes, and I actually wrote an article called The Hood. And so sometimes those hoods, you can't see them,
Yeah.
but they are so heavy that we can't realize with real eyes who we
Real
are.
eyes.
Or who you
blowing
are.
my mind already in the wordplay, man. Realize, hood, childhood. It's all built in, and it's all been. Just think about it. We're taught these words in college. We're taught this growing up. It's been put into our heads to speak and think these way through these words that are spoon-fed to us.
Yeah, and this is the best one. When I was about 8 years old, I raised my little hand and I said to the teacher, I remember his name, but I'm not going to tell you. And I said, you know what? If Columbus discovered America, how come people were living here? And he looked at me and he said, Sherry, memorize it and pass the test.
Right.
Oh, aha. I had an aha moment. Memorize it, but where are the facts? And that's the issue. When you are being taught, is it really factual? And guess what? The library became my best friend, not the one at school. I
Right.
went to the adult library, even at 8 years old, like, what the heck is going on? Are you people weird or what? And so we're taught, don't ask questions. And did you know in your idea that ask questions, keep asking questions, and that's how you'll find your truth. But question, you go on the quest in the past.
Question. Oh, man.
And ion means cellular.
Question, guys. Question. You
So-
go on the quest.
Yes, so quest within yourself because that's where the answers are. And so we're taught questions like, Cassidy, what's wrong with you?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's right and wrong, but is it
Right and wrong.
correct?
Yeah.
Right and wrong. Is it right for you and wrong? So it made no sense to me. It made no sense. And so what I discovered is that when we get emotional in that left computer brain, when we get emotional, we can't stand in our truth because that head is going, well, there must be something wrong with me. I shouldn't say it. And then we should on ourselves every way, shape, or form. And so then you ask, where did I come from? I came from asking questions,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
couldn't find the answers because guess what? Because means I can't do it. Because I can't, because. But then I discovered that I'm being the cause. So you be the cause for yourself. Ask the questions, and please don't ask questions, what's wrong with you? There isn't anything. And we're not supposed to question authority.
Right.
Ooh,
It's a
don't question.
no-no.
No, because you have to memorize it. If you question authority, question all the time. So as I was going through my life, and by the way, I will tell you at 3 years old was pivotal. I said, you know what? This is irritating me. So I actually created my first near-death experience going, I got to get out of here. And I couldn't breathe. And so they didn't know if it was pneumonia or asthma or whatever, but I was shutting down. But I didn't have to do that. But I didn't know. And it's not my family was wrong or bad. But how many times have we shut ourselves down when we did not connect to our own self? How many
Right.
times?
Yeah.
And that shutting down is emotional, and that's what creates the illnesses in our body. So in the quantum field, you are expansive. You are in all directions. There is no top and bottom. It's all directions.
Right.
And that's what makes you quantum. That's what makes you multiplicity. Actually, there was a funny movie out years ago called Multiplicity.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and Meek was
Yeah.
doing all,
I'm
but
a big
that's
movie
what.
fan.
And you know what they tell you? You can't multitask. You multitask every day. You eat food, it digests, keeps what gets rid of all your multidimensional self is inside of you. Those are all your systems. And when they're not talking to each other correctly, not right or wrongly, you get sick because that left brain says, uh-oh, wrong. You're wrong in bed. Oh, how about this one? Your family has it. You're going to get it.
Oh, yeah. So your
Oh.
mind is already programmed to get it.
Exactly. And you don't have to have what your family has. We're not wronging them, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to get sick and you don't have to age. What you are doing is experiencing life. That's the quest.
Right. It's the quest. In the question. I love that. I didn't think about that one.
And to experience what you're choosing to experience. And so we get shut down. And it's not that parents are wrong or bad. This is eons and eons of programming. And people ask me, Sherry, what's my purpose? I go, which one?
Yeah.
You have so many purposes. It's unbelievable. It is maybe to have dinner, cook dinner, have a relate. You came here. This is your real purpose. Purposes is your real purpose. It's purposes. And you came here to have the experiences that you created to experience and enjoy them instead of in the trauma drama. But how many of us have been taught to do the trauma drama?
Oh, victimized mentality. Oh, me. Because of this. Yeah, you rise above it. For me, I understand that people come to. I had a very good childhood.
Yeah.
But,
I did too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I can imagine. How many? Which one, right?
Exactly. And you know what? What people say, I don't believe in the continuum. I don't believe in a past life. Really? Well, were you 6 years old? Were you 12? That was a past life.
Oh, okay.
So we've been taught to define ourselves. Definition means you're defined by somebody else at your ion or cellular level. And so when you're defined by someone else's belief system, what's the first letter of the word belief?
First letter B.
And the first letter of the word system?
S.
And put it together?
BS.
So a lot of the things that we're taught, and we lose
Belief
our sense,
system,
and
yeah.
we lose our sense of humor. And laughter is
And
the best.
joy.
Yes.
It's like it's trying to deaden down the emotional joy lately, as far as what I've been feeling. Like everything's trying to squash it, but that joy is a great feeling.
Is here.
The feeling.
Joy is a feeling, and happy is great. You know what? To me, this is happy. Happy is getting a new pair of shoes. I wear them. I have. But joy, that is a feeling,
Yeah.
and that is a foundation. Joy is a foundation, excitement, your creativity. And your creativity gets stifled because the program says you're not good enough. You're not smart
Right.
enough. You can't do this. Where did you get that idea? And
Mm,
then we become the labels.
right.
The labels. You are labeled this and you are labeled that. And then we become the labels, and then that becomes our emotional trauma drama story.
Okay.
So where did I come from?
Right. A little bit more
Asking
about you. Yeah. Like
no,
what is kind of your background? You talk about cellular memory. I want to communicate to the audience about kind of your whole on the more of the quantum side of things. Is like about scientists, how they've I remember you saying something about how the scientists they come to you and then you're like afterwards and they're like, "Oh, she's right." And they blow their mind. Can you talk a little bit about that?
well, the reason I would say that is because of asking questions. But in 1991, I had this major accident that I created so fabulously, and I died. I had a broken neck, a broken back, a smashed head, and a brain out of place. Yay!
A
Hooray
brain
for
out of place.
yeah! My brain was
Jeez.
out of place. Subsequently, I was studied at one of the leading universities in the country, and they said, "Oh my God, you're a genius!" And I go, "And you guys are dumb. My brain's out of place." And, and they laughed. It was cellular memory. So
Mm.
that is one of the things that I discovered through my journeys
Well,
is that your cellular memory is connected to your heart and your feeling, and it knows everything. But we have been taught to ask questions like, "What's wrong with you, Cassidy?"
right.
Instead of asking your body. So, in your body, of all the billions and millions and trillions of cells, particles, and molecules to the subatomic level, when you know how to ask the questions, which what I teach, then the answers come in 10 minutes or less, in a couple minutes or less. And so when I started writing about cellular memory in 91 and talking and teaching, they go, "You know what? You're crazy." But guess what? I said, "Oh, well." And then down the road, guess what happened?
What happened?
Transplants.
Ah.
Ah.
Okay.
And then the doctors and the scientists started getting the aha, and they said, "You know what, Cherry and
Mm.
Chara, maybe you have something going on here." I go, "Do ya thunk?" And that's what happened. And so more and more, and I started teaching doctors and medical people, and I even had a couple physicists, quite a few actually, come in my course, and they said, "You know what, you're really ahead of your time." Really? You know what? This is the perfect timing. And that's why I am so passionate about doing this. And I'm so grateful for Cassidy for offering
Oh,
this opportunity so that we can make a difference in your life because it's your life that counts. You know, I might have all this tools and people think you're brilliant, but you know what? So are you. And that's why we're doing this to
hmm.
show you your brilliance, that you have it inside of you and that you become your own leader. You don't have to follow leaders anymore because you are the leader to follow. And the more questions you answer with inside yourself, the more quantum you become. It's just natural.
All right, everybody. We're gonna end our segment today. This is Sherry Anshara. How do you say that right? I want to make sure.
Shuri Anshara. And actually,
Anshara.
that was given to me after my third near death experience.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Don't give that away. Let's talk about
Ooh.
that the next time. So,
Okay.
all right, you guys are listening to What They Won't Tell You, the Quantum the Quantum Truth with Sherry Anshara. See you next time.